of the year, and we are beyond excited. We have Dr. Janet Roark. She's a doctor of veterinarian medicine, and I do know that she is back to school for some more training. So we want to wish her the best as she continues her further education. And for the July specials, oh, what an amazing combo that we have. A 5 mil deep blue with 125 PV order, and then the deep blue stick, 10% off for the entire month of July. So great options as we are busier than ever. So make sure you keep this in mind. And then next week, yes, Lauren Bush, holistic hormone nurse. She's an expert. She's employed with doTERRA. She is probably nationally, if not internationally, known for her expertise. And then on the 16th, Dr. Caitlin is going to be talking about reclaiming restful sleep. And we're excited to have her back as well. Dr. Janet Roark has been practicing veterinary medicine for over 16 years. It's hard to believe. I've known her for 12. She's the owner and CEO of Veterinarian of Essential Oil. She's known as the Essential Oil Vet, as far as I'm concerned. She's the author of Essential Oils for Pets guidebook. And I believe I have probably 2 or 3 of her books. So without further ado, she's also a wellness advocate, very, very active, and I'm going to stop sharing. And Dr. Roark, the audience is all yours, and I'm so thrilled you're with us.
Yay, thanks so much for having me. Can everyone hear me okay? My AirPods are not working.
Yes, sound great.
I just usually the sound is a little bit better with my AirPods, but and I'm at my cousin's house right now in Washington, D.C. So visiting family. Proof that you can do this anywhere, you guys. No excuses. All right, everyone. I'm so happy to be here talking about my 2 favorite things, essential oils and animals. And if I can figure out how to share my screen here, let's get started. All right. And I just gotta find my PowerPoint here. Go. And share. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep, looks good, and you sound great.
Awesome. Well, I'm not going to be able to read the chat while I'm going because I'm only on one screen today, but feel free to unmute. Yeah, Sandy, just feel free to unmute and ask questions, or if you can't hear me or something happens, please let me know. All right, guys, yay, let's get started with the animals and essential oils, why you're here. I know most of you are essential oil users already, but we're going to do kind of introduction to essential oils and animals, some myth busting, how to use essential oils with animals, the top essential oils to use with people and animals, and I have a few examples with that. Just a heads up, as some of the photos are extremely graphic, so I'll try to give you like a little heads up about the graphic photos before they come along in case you need to look away if you have a queasy stomach. And then some safety considerations by species, and of course, where to learn more and whatnot. So a little bit about me. I know, great introduction, but when I was 5 years old, I knew I wanted to be a veterinarian, and I actually started working for a veterinarian in my local hometown in Langsburg, Michigan, Dr. Yvonne Krager and Dr. Barb McClure. Over in Langsburg when I was 16 years old. I actually started with volunteering, and they saw that I was a hard worker and decided to hire me for, I don't even want to tell you guys how much minimum wage was back then, but it was not very much money. I went to the University of Findlay in Ohio, where I triple majored in pre-veterinary medicine, biology, and equestrian studies. So big horse person here. And I also minored in chemistry. And that was all while working 3 part-time jobs because I was not independently wealthy and had to pay my own way through college. I went to Michigan State University for veterinary school, and I've actually been a veterinarian since 2005. So actually 20 years this year, which is a little crazy to me. And I started using essential oils for my own health, like a lot of you. I dealt with a lot of stress with working in veterinary medicine, and that led to migraines and pretty severe depression, and to the point of actually attempting to take my own life a couple of times. So, essential oils, I did go on medication. That was before essential oils. I went on medication, but I was able to get off of that medication because of essential oils, and I've been so healthy ever since. After, of course, a lot of use with myself and my own animals, I started using them in my practice, and became the essential oil vet back in 2014. Yay. So pet people actually turn to essential oils for their animals when their current approach to health is not getting results for their animals. They don't want to use toxic chemical concoctions in their home or with their animals. They're overwhelmed with all the natural options that are out there. They want to increase the overall quality of life and longevity for their animals. Who wants their dogs to live forever? Me. I do. And they want to be empowered, not to maybe have to run to the vet for every little thing. Of course, go to the vet for emergencies. But you're going to save a ton of money in the process by using essential oils in your home with your animals. So a few reasons why we use essential oils. They're a safe and natural alternative. They're used for a wide range of emotional, behavioral, and physical wellness applications. And when we're talking about behavior, a lot of our animals' behavior is a result of fear, like fireworks that might be coming up this weekend. And they really have very few, if any, undesirable side effects when they're used properly and as directed. They're very, very easy to use, and they're very affordable to use because you're only using one drop at a time typically. So one drop is all that's needed to achieve a really powerful benefit, and they can be used with other modalities like herbs, whether they're Chinese herbs or Western herbs, homeopathics, and if they're on medications, you can actually use essential oils with most medications as well. What makes essential oils really special and what really drew me to them is a couple of things. One, their antiviral properties, and two, they are lipophilic, which means they absorb into the skin and into the bloodstream very, very quickly. They can also, because of the size of the molecules in essential oils, cross the blood-brain barrier in some cases, which is really um, Dr. Scott Johnson likes to call it a filter as opposed to a barrier because it's selective about what it lets in, which means a lot of the medications that we give can't actually cross into the brain, and which is a problem when we're dealing with things like seizures or like neurologic issues and things like that. So we want to be able to affect the brain when we can, and the olfactory system is directly connected to the limbic system in the brain, which is the animal part of the brain, which impacts fear. So because of a lot of the behavioral and emotional things we have going on with animals is fear-based, we can actually fix that through their olfactory system, and just aromatic use of essential oils is really, really powerful. Unfortunately, of course, not all essential oils are created equal. The problem is there's no industry-wide standards. Essential oils are distributed through one or more brokers, and the true source and composition is often unknown. And they're often synthetic or cut with cheaper oils or fillers. And the problem with that is that those synthetic oils and fillers are often unsafe or toxic to pets. They're hormone disrupting, they're endocrine disrupting, they mess with the nervous system of animals, they end up with seizures and things like that. And all essential oils get blamed when really it's the synthetics in the adulterated essential oils that are actually causing the problems. So the solution is to work directly with the farmers and the distillers, test the composition and quality during and after distillation with published results that you can access online for that accountability. Adulteration can happen normally through normal aging, oxidation, resinification, which is where oils get really, really thick over time. Anybody have this happen with any of their oils? Let me know in the chat, like which essential oils you've had get a little too thick over time. Um, we don't know necessarily what storage containers the companies are using to bring their oils into the bottling facility. And synthetic fragrances are really common. I call these perfume grade essential oils because the essential oil industry, moved away from being therapeutic and moved into the perfuming industry, which is great. Synthetic fragrances are fine for candles and soaps and things like that when you're not trying to use them therapeutically, although that becomes a problem when too much is used, and then you start getting hormone or endocrine disrupting. And so we want to use essential oils though for therapeutic purposes, especially with our animals. We want to make sure they're 100% pure. And we also know that stretching of oils is a really common thing. 80 to 90% of essential oils on the market are adulterated. So they're adulterated with things like solvents, foreign substances, carrier oils, or other cheaper oils. And we know this happens. It's very common in the industry. It's actually well known. You can actually add synthetics to essential oils at the distillery to make it smell a certain way. And we know this happens because lavender oil experts far exceed production capacity based on the plant number of plants that are harvested and the typical yield of that particular plant. It happens with bergamot. Lemongrass gets substituted for Melissa. All sorts of crazy stuff happens in the industry, which is why we all recommend and use doTERRA. But let's do some myth busting when it comes to essential oils specifically. You might have heard on the internet that essential oils are toxic to pets. Who here has been yelled at online for using essential oils around their animals? Anyone? Let me know in the chat if you've been yelled at. Like, and it's usually by really well-intentioned, well-meaning people. They're like, well, I don't want you to hurt your animals, and I heard this thing, and I just want to make sure that you're doing it safely. And so there is a lot of stuff on the internet that a lot of people believe. And believe it or not, you shouldn't believe everything that you read on the internet, especially when it's from someone who is just copying and pasting some blog post from a million years ago that's not actually true. So quick story, my friend Wanda joined one of I think it was my 7-day happy healthy cat challenge, but she had 5 cats and all of them different, each with their own unique things going on. I was so leery about using essential oils at all with my kitties until this class. Thank you for sharing your knowledge like this. I feel 1,000 times more confident now in using the oils and in knowing which is better for them. And my hope and goal for you at the end of this little discussion today is that you feel like Wanda, that you feel 1,000 times more confident in using oils and knowing which ones you can use with your animals safely and how to use them. So myth number 1, diffusing around pets is dangerous. The truth to this particular myth is that essential oils are really potent. They're 50 to 70 times more potent than herbs. Pets have millions more olfactory receptors than humans do, which makes them sensitive to super strong smells. And essential oils can be really strong smells in some cases. The truth is that diffusing around pets is an excellent way to improve their health on a regular basis. A really great way to get them to calm down that like crazy animal brain that's going on, that's afraid, and really help maintain health. So you want to use a water-based diffuser. We have a few out there, the Pebble, the Petal, the Lumo, it was out there. The Roam is a great one. You want to use that on an intermittent setting. Leave the room door open so they can leave if they wish when you're diffusing, and stick with 3 to 4 drops in your diffuser at a time. The truth is the research out there on animals, specifically dogs and cats in kennels in a shelter situation, they found that diffusing lavender in those self-shelter situations not only provided calming effects for the pets, but actually made them more adaptable because they weren't scared. That's so awesome. Okay, myth number 2, never pet your dog or cat after using essential oils. The truth is that essential oils is actually applied topically as one of the ways we can actually help them. You can apply the oils topically along their spine and on their ear tips. The truth is that smells can linger on your hands. If you've ever rubbed your eyes after applying deep blue rub or peppermint, it can you know firsthand that that's not the best idea. Actually, use some deep blue when I first started using essential oils. One of my favorite oils, by the way. I'm so excited that it's one of that's free this month. It's actually free. And I put on some deep blue and then kind of forgot about it. And then I went to put my contacts in without washing my hands first. And oh my gosh, I wore my glasses that day for sure. That was a little crazy. But essential oils are actually volatile, which means they quickly evaporate at room temperature and they absorb quickly into the skin because they're lipophilic. So they don't really linger on your hands unless you're using a carrier oil. But with strong oils, it's not a bad idea to wash your hands after applying so you don't actually get peppermint in their eyes when you're petting them. Myth number 3, insert oil here is harmful to cats or dogs. I've heard it all. Citrus oils are dangerous for cats. Pine oils will kill your dog. Lavender oil diffused is the most dangerous thing you can do to your cat, and they will definitely vomit and turn over and die and go into kidney failure. The truth is that several veterinarians, including myself, have investigated these claims, and we have found zero science or even any basis for these claims. The truth is, cats do lack a liver enzyme that is important for metabolizing certain things. So it's not a bad idea to use a little more caution with these little guys. But essential oils are actually perfectly safe to use in your DIY cleaning, diffuse in your home, or even diluted and used topically with your cats for specific things. You want to use caution with tea tree, birch, and wintergreen, topically and orally if your cat or dog has underlying respiratory problems, or use more caution with especially strong smelling oils like peppermint, eucalyptus, oregano, cinnamon, clove, etc. Myth number 4, using essential oils around pets can cause liver or kidney damage. The truth is that doTERRA oils actually support the liver and the kidney. We've actually done research on this, and it is shown in tons of blood work on many cases that I've consulted on, and my colleagues have consulted on, that some oils are actually hepatoprotective, which means they protect the liver. And also nephroprotective, which means they protect the kidneys, which means they actually protect them. They make them better. So the truth, unfortunately, is that liver failure is really common and kidney failure is really common in pets in general, regardless of if that person uses essential oils or doesn't use essential oils. Many people, when this happens, they want something to blame. And so essential oils can often get falsely accused in some of these cases. The truth is, actually, more animals that don't have essential oils in their home actually get kidney failure and liver failure than animals that do have essential oils in the home. And I think that it's because a lot of those essential oils are hepatoprotective and nephroprotective. Myth number 5, if my pet gets too much essential oil, they will die. Dun dun dun. This is really, really rare. There's only one documented case of death from tea tree in the literature. They did a retrospective study, I think back in 2009, and it was for the past like 20 years. And it was a small dog that was less than 10 pounds, and the owner used the equivalent of 2 bottles of undiluted tea tree oil as a flea treatment. She heard that uh, tea tree oil is really good for repelling fleas, and so she bathed her dog in it basically without actually diluting it first, which obviously is way, way, way too much essential oil for an animal or a person, to be honest. That's a lot. The truth is that ingestion of very large amounts of essential oil, whether it's intentional or accidental, is probably not super great for them. But it is, again, not documented. Most of the time, we can do supportive care and help those animals out. Essential oils are very potent. They're 50 to 70 times more potent than herbs. And the most common adverse reactions we actually see with animals, which are very rare also, but are mild skin irritation. A little bit of redness on the skin or something like that. Most reactions, even the severe ones, resolve within 24 to 48 hours of exposure once the oil is removed. And usually it's a result of those adverse reactions are the result of someone using way too much essential oil, a kid actually leaving out an essential oil, the dog eating it, or something like that. Just be sure to discontinue using essential oil if your pet shows signs of distress, drooling, squinting, vocalization, shaking, vomiting, diarrhea, muscle twitching, or any kind of weird thing like that. Dilute with a carrier oil if the oil is applied topically, and too much got on them. Dilute it with a carrier oil and then give them a bath with a shampoo right after that. But dilute it first and then shampoo to get it all off. Feed the animal something like that includes a fat like coconut oil or milk or yogurt. Plain Greek yogurt works really, really well if an animal in got too much essential oil internally, and that will help dilute it out. You can also give activated charcoal internally, mix it with a little peanut butter, they'll eat it right up. So keeping that stuff on hand in an emergency is not a bad idea. Keep the lids on all your bottles and store them in a safe place, such as a closed box or drawer, to prevent them from actually accidentally borrowing one of the oils they really, really like. If you keep your purse around, just make sure if you have essential oils in there, that you keep it up where your animals can't get into it. All right, a couple of do's and don'ts with essential oils. Do only use pure, unadulterated essential oils. Dilute essential oils prior to topical application. Diffuse around your pets. It's so, so good for them, especially their emotional health and their behavioral health. Observe your pet's behavior. They're really good at communicating with us. They don't use words, they use their behavior. They're trying to tell you something if their behavior is off. Use caution with nursing or very young animals. Use a water diffuser. Introduce essential oils gently to your pet. Store your essential oils safely. And find a holistic veterinarian near you that isn't going to scold you for using essential oils in your home. Don't be afraid. Don't use plain water to remove an essential oil. Use a carrier oil instead, like fractionated coconut oil. Don't apply a large amount of essential oil at one time. I always say use your oils more diluted more frequently. So the touch rollers are excellent, excellent choices for using with your animals if you want an easy button, and especially the kids blends are super great for animals. Don't use essential oils at the same time as a topical medication, like a flea and tick topical. Don't worry or panic with an adverse reaction. Most of them are very rare and they resolve very quickly, usually on their own. But please don't hesitate to reach out to your vet if you're concerned. Don't use oils in the nose, down into the ear canal. You don't want it to hit the eardrum, in the eyes or other sensitive areas. Don't use tea tree, wintergreen, or birch with dogs or cats. Don't add essential oils to your pet's water dish. You can add it to their food, but not to their water dish. We don't want to ever deter them from drinking water, especially in the summertime. And don't ever stop learning. You guys have these amazing continuing education classes, which is really incredible. Take advantage of them. Learning is such power. Oh, I already went through all this. Sorry, I don't know why it showed up twice, guys. My slides are being wonky today. Let's talk about how to use essential oils with people and pets. So for overall health, there's 5 pillars of health that I really focus on. One is the foundation of health, which is the building blocks of health, nutrition, and digestive health. Just like with people, nutrition is the foundation of health. You can't out supplement a bad diet with people, and you can't out supplement a bad diet with dogs or cats. So if you're feeding kibble, I highly recommend you add whole food toppers. Take away 25% of the kibble that you're giving. Don't give as much. And add whole food toppers to your animals. Diet, mix it up a little bit. Meats, proteins are excellent for carnivores like dogs and cats. You can also use healthy fruits and veggies that are not toxic. Of course, avoid grapes or currants with dogs and cats as well. Physical health is the next pillar, which includes exercise, joint health, muscle health, as well as organ support like liver and kidneys and heart and metabolic health. So I kind of put that all in one pillar. And then we have environmental health, which is reducing toxic load and skin health. When you have allergies or itchy animals, a lot of times it's parasites like fleas, but it's also can be the outward manifestation of what's going on internally. So really it's getting at that toxic load and reducing that as much as possible so that we can have nice, healthy, pink, beautiful skin. And next is emotional and behavioral health. This is where we reduce stress and anxiety, including thunderstorm phobias, fireworks, anxiety, etc., and ensuring a restful sleep. And then finally, we have immune health, which is supporting the immune system from the time they're puppies and kittens and foals and calves all the way to their senior years throughout life with proactive care. And having the essential oils in your home is going to really help with that. So there's 3 ways we use essential oils with animals: aromatically, topically, and internally, just like with people. These are just some different ways you can use oils: aromatically, diffusion, spraying it into the air, direct inhalation, on a cloth, cotton ball, or bedding, or you can even put it on your animal's collars or harnesses. Hot water or steam is a little more advanced. You can use a humidifier like the Dawn humidifier, or on your fan or in your fan or air filter. This is a little photo of Pippa, who was enjoying some balance in her pedal diffuser. You can see animals really enjoy, will tell you through their behavior if they like a certain oil. Pippa loved her balance. Topical use is the next way we use essential oils. Just always dilute. If you're using oils topically with animals, you can apply it directly to along their spine, on their ear tips. You can use the reflexology points on the bottom of their paws. Massage techniques, if you're familiar with those, or energy work, if you know where the bladder meridian is on your animals, that's an excellent place to apply oils. The top of the head, right behind the ears is a acupressure point called Anshin, which is a calming point. That is a really, really good place to, if you've ever put a calming oil right here behind your ears. You can also press there if you're ever stressed out. It helps calm you down. Anshin is a really good acupressure point. Directly to the area of interest. So if you have a cut or a scratch or a bruise, you can put it directly there. Hot or cold compresses are great. Warm compresses for like abscesses and things like that. Cold compresses, if your cat or dog has red eyes, you can do a cold compress with lavender. Is an excellent way to get rid of those red eyes really quickly. Of course, there are a ton of roller bottle or spray recipes out there. And this is a little photo of a little kitty who got a vaccine and wasn't feeling super good after that, was feeling pretty puny. And she diffused some oils and did some diluted lavender topically, and made a huge difference. He fell asleep and he felt amazing when he woke up. Internal use is the last way we use essential oils with animals. You're going to do this limited, and usually after you talk to somebody who is trained in using essential oils internally with animals. I have several veterinarians that do use these, or certified animal aromatherapists. And you are really going to use one or two, no more than 1 to 2 drops at a time of each oil. You can use multiple oils depending on what's going on. You can mix it with wet food. You can put it in a capsule topped with carrier oil and hide it in a treat. You can put a drop on a treat, like a yummy piece of chicken, or rubbed on their gums. Just don't get bit if you rub on the gums. And you can also do a natural toothpaste. I just ask that you please don't, please, like, just a reminder, don't use essential oils in the water, because we don't ever want to discourage them from drinking water. This is a really cool case. Stella, I don't think Stella's with us anymore, but this is many, many years ago. But Stella had bladder stones, and pretty big ones. She sent me a radiograph. It was like a giant stone in her bladder that was taking up her whole bladder. And so I did a consultation with her owner, and she posted this. It was pretty amazing. This was a very, very dedicated owner, mind you. She used essential oils. She followed the recommendations. It went from one large stone, and she has radiographs of this, one large stone to 3 stones. We made some changes in her diet as well, made sure she was getting lots of water, and then eventually was completely stone free without surgery. And I even, when I did this consultation with this person, was like, uh, she might need surgery, just FYI. Like, I was not 100% sure we were going to be able to get there with this particular dog. But she did, and she lost weight. She's just like did so well. She was thriving, because her owner was very vigilant, very determined, and very, very dedicated, and just she did phenomenal. So remember, we're always going to dilute with essential oils. If you get nothing else out of this presentation, please dilute your essential oils before applying topically to your animals. I have a dilution guide. I have a free safety guide. You guys can go to my website if you want to download that and get that for free. Tons of free resources on there, tons and tons. We have paid resources as well, but tons of free resources as well. But you're always going to use more diluted more frequently with these guys. And there's different carrier oils you can use. Extra virgin coconut, extra virgin olive oil, fractionated coconut oil is probably my favorite. Almond oil, whatever you have in your pantry is probably good. But you can always increase the concentration if you're not reaching the results that you're looking for, but you can't remove an essential oil once it's already applied. So that's why I'm always like more diluted more frequently if you need to, as opposed to less diluted, less frequently. Every animal is an individual, and your animal might be more sensitive than others or less sensitive. So I have one dog, you guys have probably heard me talk about him if you've ever followed me. Miles, oh bless his heart, he just got bit by a rattlesnake last week. But he is my troublesome dog who gets into a lot of trouble, like getting bit by a rattlesnake. And he is my oily dog. This dog is like, Mama, I need my oils. I did something bad again. So he is always eating things he's not supposed to, and he's just a troublemaker, but he's my buddy and I love him. He's 7, somehow survived this long. And we used a lot of essential oils after he got bit by a rattlesnake and stuff like that. He's doing good now, but we did do some antivenin as well. That was an emergency situation. We did get him into an emergency vet to get some antivenom, but he's been doing really, really good ever since then. So, and then observe their behavior. Remember, they communicate through their behavior and they'll tell you if something's going on. So let's review really quickly 3 ways you can use essential oils with animals: aromatically, topically, and internally. Aromatically, diffusion, sprayed into the air, direct inhalation, on cloth, bedding, or collar, fan or air filters, or humidifiers. Topically, we're going to dilute it, then apply directly to the area of concern. Massage techniques, ear tipping along meridians or reflexology points, hot or cold compresses, or just petting along the back via normal petting. And you can just apply it to your hand first and just pat like normal. And then internally, you can mix it with food. 1 drop is usually enough in a capsule topped with carrier oil, rubbed directly onto the gums on a super yummy treat. And I didn't mention it yet, but you don't have to use oils internally with cats ever. And the reasoning being, you can apply it topically to a cat, and they are meticulous groomers. So they will just lick it off wherever you put it. So whatever you're putting on topically to your cat is actually, they're going to actually get internally as well. We like to invite animals to be a part of the choose your own oil experience. We use a thing called self-selection, also called zoopharmacognosy. That's a term coined by Caroline Ingram. This is where you allow the pet to choose to be a part of the process. And what you're going to do is you're going to introduce the oil initially with the cap on. Positive responses might be a little subtle. Just be observant and let them tell you. And if you're not sure, observe their behavior for the first 10 or 15 minutes of diffusing a new oil. And they might be like Pippa and smell the diffuser, or they might be like, that one's not for me, I'm outie, and leave the room. And if that's the case, then they probably don't like that oil, and you might want to just make note of that and pick a different one in the future. So licking the nose is a really good common way of them showing they like an oil. So here's a couple of videos. I think we have time for these. So this one is a kitty who had, this is Lyra, she's no longer with us, but she lived to be 18, so oils definitely helped her out. And she had asthma, a heart murmur. She was my vet school kitty, so asthma, heart murmur. She had epilepsy. She was deaf. She had so many problems. But she was my oily kitty, and this is me introducing oils to her. You do not have to get this close to animals, just so you know. You can be like a foot or 2 or even 3 feet away if they're sensitive. And if they reach towards it like they want to smell it, that's a yes. If they turn their head away, that's a no. So this is a kitty who is smelling her oil, and you can see I'm introducing the oils when she's very, very calm. She's, she was like, making bread, making biscuits on the bed. This is a yes response with a cat. If they're rubbing their face on it, they really like that oil. And so she likes these first 2 oils. And then I introduced this last one. She's interested, but she's like, nope, no, thank you. And so I didn't make her smell it again just to make sure or anything like that. Just trust that they're telling you what they want. And some animals are naturally very suspicious of this whole process. So you might have to diffuse, or you might have to like set the oils down and let them kind of explore it themselves and different things. Chihuahuas really are like, whatever, what are you doing? You're trying to give me medicine. I know. There's certain animals that are just a little more suspicious. This is Bella. This is her first time ever getting oil. She's 14 now, and is a bit of an oily dog. But she has separation anxiety, and she was visiting me and away from her person. So she licked her nose a little there. That's them just kind of like processing the smell. It's usually a positive response, but then she kind of like turned away. Now some dogs when they do that, they're like, put the oil on my belly. They're telling you that. But with her, I was like, I think she's just trying to get away from the smell at this point. This is Roman chamomile. Watch how she smells this one. So she does not want to get away from that one. She's licking the bottle. Like she's like, yes, I want that oil. So at that point, I could have stopped and just used the Roman chamomile, which is she obviously said yes to me. But I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna try some more calming oils. And this is early on in my journey. I would have stopped right there now. But here's this one. This one is actually a pretty positive response. She doesn't turn away. She kind of ducks her head a little bit, but I would consider that a yes response as well. And then this one, she just wants like nothing to do with. That was like, I think, very calm. She's like, no, not her. And I think this is bergamot. She didn't like this one. She's like kind of over the process at this point, but she's not running away. And you can see she doesn't have a leash on. She can, the room door is open. She could leave if she wanted to. But she was like, no, I don't want this one. So we put some diluted Roman chamomile on her. We did balance first and then Roman chamomile, diluted Roman chamomile on her. And she fell asleep within 5 minutes. So she went from panting, pacing, looking for where her mom was, which was not in the house. I was pet sitting for her, and she fell asleep because of the oils. So her being a part of that process was really important. We ended up using Roman chamomile for the rest of the week for her, and she did really, really well. So here's some oils and some pieces for you guys. So Digest Zen is my number one essential oil for animals. If you have an animal, you need to have this because if they have digestive problems, it is usually not good. You are cleaning stuff up. It is messy. Nobody wants to deal with that. And you want to answer fast. And this is fast digestive health in a bottle. So maintaining healthy digestion, it helps reduce bloating, gas, indigestion. So you won't have to keep blaming the dog. And you can use it on your husband too. And it eases feelings of queasiness. So it's really good for car sick animals, especially because there's an anxiety component with nausea and car sickness, or motion sickness in general, because they're anticipating feeling sick. So there is usually an anxiety component. So I usually add lavender as well as digestion for car sickness specifically. You can apply the oil topically or use it internally. You could actually diffuse digestion. I just don't because it's not the greatest smelling oil in the world. And I feel like it does a really good job. If you can just rub it on their belly, it's amazing. You can use it with Terrazyme, which is doTERRA's digestive enzyme. And I give Terrazyme to my animals, dogs and cats, every single meal. So they get a digestive enzyme in addition to, which has some digestion in it with every meal to promote normal, healthy digestion. I will say that if you have a really small dog, or you don't particularly care for Digestin or Zengest, that you can also use the Kids Tamer blend. And I actually like to have both of those on hand because you can rotate them when you have kind of a more urgent thing going on that you want a quick response to. This is a horse that it was an older horse, so older guy who colicked. And if you've ever had horses, you know a colic can be deadly. It is very, very dangerous. She contacted her vet and was kind of like on the phone with them. And she just used Digestin every 20 to 30 minutes with him internally and on his belly. And he went from not feeling good to being like, okay, lying sternal, and walking around and wanting to eat within 2 hours, which has saved them probably $500 to $1,000 emergency vet bill. And then we have On Guard, which is our protective blend. This is a very effective immune support. It protects against environmental threats. You can diffuse it for cleaning the air. It promotes natural antioxidant effects, and you can also use it as an all-purpose cleaner. And it supports normal, healthy respiratory function. This is, remember at the beginning where I was like, the two things that really I was super interested in and really drew me to essential oils were, one, they're lipophilic and could cross the blood-brain barrier, and two, they have some antiviral effects. This is one of those. Okay, so hopefully I'm not going to get thrown in jail for this, but this is a perfect example of this, and I have dozens and dozens of cases of this. Okay, this is just one that she happened to post about, so I have like a video of it. This is Cardi. Cardi's a puppy that was not fully vaccinated yet because she was too young. And so she didn't get her full parvo series. And so her mom, who's a friend of mine, contacted me on a Sunday and was like, Cardi's sick. She has a little bit of diarrhea. I'm like, is it bloody? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, is she vaccinated? She's like, no. She started vomiting. And I'm like, she's like, do I have to take her to the emergency vet? I can't. Like, she's like at home with her kids by herself, kind of a thing. And I was like, she probably needs to go to the emergency vet. But, you have oils on hand. Start using Digestin and On Guard right away. And so she started using Digestin and On Guard diluted every 2 hours on her belly um, on Sunday. We didn't give anything internally because she's vomiting. Okay, so you don't want to do anything internally in the. And so she started doing that every 2 hours. Even overnight, she'd wake up, apply the oils. On Tuesday, she had stopped vomiting, and so she actually stopped vomiting on Monday. So she started giving Pedialyte and chicken broth every hour to keep her hydrated because of the vomiting. She was a little dehydrated because of the diarrhea. They get a little dehydrated, so she was giving chicken broth and Pedialyte every hour as supportive care just at home. And she added On Guard and oregano internally on Tuesday with the chicken broth and the Pedialyte. On Tuesday, her regular vet opened. So she took her in and she did parvo test positive. So she was confirmed she had parvo. But the vet didn't really do anything because they're like, she's honestly doing pretty good. So just keep doing what you're doing. She wasn't dehydrated anymore, so they didn't even have to give fluids or anything like that. And then parvo, for those of you that don't know, is a virus. It's a deadly virus to puppies. And usually it lasts several weeks, even with supportive care. Um, but this is her on Wednesday. So she was first symptoms on Sunday, and this is her on Wednesday. I can't believe it. I still can't believe it. It's amazing. So I mean, this is a normal puppy, you guys. Like she's a normal puppy. She's playing with the stick. She's feeling great. And all she used was Digestin and Agar. And the key in this case is that she started using it immediately when she had some symptoms. Do not wait when you have something like this. When you're like, I think it might be this. I don't want to like, just start it. Just start it. If you're like, this might be a virus, like start the stuff because the sooner and the more frequently you can get it on, the better the results that you're going to get. And don't be afraid to apply it multiple times a day, like that. Like every 2 hours is what she was doing every 2 hours. Okay. So that's On Guard and Digestin. Next is lavender. Let's see how we're doing on time. Okay, I'm gonna go a little quicker so that we don't want to have some time for questions at the end if you guys have questions. But lavender is calming and relaxing. It soothes itchy skin, but remember, itchy skin is usually the outward manifestation of what's going on internally. So you got to address the digestion and the nutrition and the internal stuff too. It relieves anxious feelings. It's great for car rides along with digestion. Like I talked about, it's good for peaceful sleep and it can be used topically, diffused, or used internally. And you can use it with omegas for a healthy skin and co. I'm gonna grab a sip of water. Hold on. All right, this is Chubbs. Chubbs is the yellow lab that had gone outside for his last coffee break of the night and obviously got into something. We don't know what. We think he got stung or bit by something. Nothing, nothing, no bleeding or anything like that. So we knew it wasn't a snake bite. But his owner is again a friend of mine. So she texted me this picture. It's like, Chubbs's face is swelling up. What do I do? I'm like, what did he get into? She's like, I don't know. And so I was like, well, grab some lavender and just like apply it topically. And you might have to go to the emergency vet. I'm not sure. And so she's like, okay, so she grabbed one drop of lavender, one drop, put it on her hand, on her little palm, squirted a little fractionated coconut oil in there, rubbed her hands together like this, and then just pat him all over his face, making sure not to get it in his eyes. And this was him 15 minutes later. She sent me this picture 15 minutes later. She's like, it took 9 minutes, but it went down. It went down so fast. Again, She used it immediately when he needed it. And I actually posted this side by side on social media a long time ago. And I got yelled at. People are like, that's not the same dog. And I'm like, it is literally the same dog. You can see his little eye cyst right here on both of them. But yeah, that's how fast the swelling went down. And it was amazing. I'm like, I guess you can see there's a little bit of swelling right by his eye, a little bit. But that went down pretty quick too. And she ended up not having to go to the emergency vet, again, saving herself $500 to $1,000, if not more, in emergency vet care because she had a drop of lavender on hand, less than a couple of cents. Pretty amazing. All right, next is Aroma Touch. It supports healthy joints and muscles. You can apply it topically for a relaxing massage. It's perfect for senior dogs with arthritis, and it supports lymphatic flow and circulation. I love this oil for dogs and cats, actually. It's needed. And then it relaxes tense muscles and sore joints. And just a pro tip, you can also use it with the Deep Blue polyphenol complex capsules, which is a supplement that it has. And you can use that instead of other joint things that you might be giving. This is just a testimony really quick of a dog that had a sprained tail. And she used copaiba, turmeric, frankincense internally and massaged Aroma Touch and Balance twice a day onto the tail, and it recovered in like less than 3 days. Balance, of course, is our next oil. This is my number one favorite blend of doTERRA's, and it's relaxing, it's grounding, it promotes mental tranquility and balance. It's helpful for restful sleep. It's comforting. I always apply it prior to other oils. It's a really good like introduction to oils, and it helps kind of get the blood and system ready to receive the other oils. So there's kind of an order to oils sometimes that are, if you're doing a layering technique, and using balance or frankincense first is really, really key to that. And there is frankincense in balance, so it's kind of a win-win situation there. But it's extremely comforting. It's already diluted. You don't have to dilute it anymore. And it is a really good one for anxiety, including thunderstorms and fireworks. And it helps support the nervous system. You can apply this topically twice a day or more often if needed, or diffuse it. If you do use it in your diffuser, because it does have fractionated coconut oil in it, just be sure to clean your diffuser afterwards, after using it. This is a horse that absolutely hated being away from her friends. And she had a chiropractic appointment and had to be in the barn by herself. And so 30 minutes before the appointment, her owner went out and put balance like behind her ears and kind of on her, right behind her skull, right behind her head. And then went out to get her. And when she brought her in, she came. She didn't care. She didn't yell for her friends. She was extremely calm for the adjustment, even though she was the only horse in the barn. And it was so much so that the chiropractor was like, wow, she's really calm today. It was pretty amazing. Next is copaiba, which is extremely versatile. It's good for the cardiovascular system, immune system, digestive, urinary tract, respiratory system, musculoskeletal system, and the nervous system. It's a powerful antioxidant. It's hepatoprotective. Remember, protects the liver. And it's a foundation for cellular health. It's emotionally relaxing and can be used to help soothe and calm anxiousness and decrease stress and feelings of overwhelm. It's high in beta caryophyllene, which activates the CB2 receptors in the endocannabinoid system, very similar to how CBD works, although they work a little bit differently because CBD actually has to be broken down in order for the cells to utilize it, and beta caryophyllene in copaiba doesn't. So you can actually apply it topically. It works really, really well. The copaiba, if you have a dog that's scared of thunderstorms or fireworks specifically, because we're going to have fireworks on Friday, start giving copaiba in the food today if you haven't been giving it. 1 to 2 drops twice a day with the food. Just get that system going a little bit so that come Friday, things are going to go nice and smooth. This is a beagle who lost a lot of weight. Again, nutrition, foundation of health. She wanted to show what copaiba, 2 drops twice a day on his food did for him. He had super elevated liver enzymes, and 1 year later, totally normal liver enzymes. And that was just with copaiba. And his joints got better too because he lost weight. So she just kept giving copaiba and took him off of all of his joint supplements as well. Cedarwood is Tina. Oh, I miss her. My little polydactyl kitty. Cedarwood supports the respiratory system. It encourages proper lymphatic flow. It supports a healthy urinary tract. It's calming. So cedarwood and lavender together are a really good combo. Cedarwood and copaiba work really, really well together. Cedarwood is my favorite for repelling insects and pests. I like Terra Shield as well, but cedarwood is so safe. You can use it on pretty much any species. And it also promotes healthy hair growth, especially when you combine it with rosemary. It eases stress and anxiousness for fearful or very timid animals and encourages restful sleep through the night. It's a natural flea and tick repellent. Flea and tick repellent. And so to use it as a repellent, you just apply it to the legs and neck before going outside. Of course, remembering to dilute it first. Next, we have frankincense. Here's where the disturbing photos start coming in. So look away for a minute if you get queasy with gross photos. So frankincense promotes healthy cellular function, skin health. It's relaxing. It promotes mood balance. It soothes aches and pains and joints. It supports the nervous system. I use this one aromatically, internally, and topically in many cases, not or, but and. We always say, when in doubt, get the frankincense out. So if you're not sure what to use, get some frankincense. This is a cyst that a dog had that resolved on its own with just frankincense. This is a horse that had a fight with a T-post that this wound couldn't be closed. It got kind of impaled with a T-post in the pasture. And so that's a very deep wound. It goes all the way down. And she was just using a topical solution that included frankincense as a spray to keep it clean. And it started to heal really, really quickly. And this was, I think, all within a month before it was totally closed up and healed like this. So, and then the hair grew back and you could barely tell it was there. Pretty awesome. This is another gross wound. Sorry. Myrrh is amazing for skin and oral health as well. Oral health is a real problem in dogs and cats. It has powerful cleansing properties. It's kind of an antiseptic oil, believe it or not. It's very soothing. It eases stomach discomfort. And I like myrrh and helichrysum post-surgery around the incision, not over top of sutures, but around it. It'll heal it up super, super quick. So this is a dog that got in a fight with her other dog and while she was away. And so her husband started using oils on it, including myrrh, and he was still licking it. And so it wasn't healing super well, but you can tell it's not infected. It's nice and clean. It's not infected. Because he was licking it, I was like, go ahead and put a cone on and keep using the oils. So all she did was oils only, and this was a week later with a cone. So you can see it's granulating in super fast. It's healing very, very well. It went from that to that in just 1 week, and then this 1 week later, and then it closed up just a couple days after that completely. And then finally, we have Melissa. Melissa is one of my favorite oils for the brain health and neural support. So it's really good for older dogs and cognitive dysfunction. It is the oil that has helped me a ton and still does with depression. And it's got powerful antiviral and antifungal properties. I use this one in small animals instead of tea tree oil because we don't use tea tree oil in dogs and cats. It's an effective must-have for any health, physical, or behavioral for all animals. And I'm going to go through safety really quickly because we pretty much have covered most of this. But remember, eel safety, we're going to dilute topically for dogs based on the size of the dog. Use a water-based diffuser internally. We already covered that. Let your dog smell the unopened bottle. Do the pharmacognosy or self-selection for that. And use the oil if they have a positive response. Don't use oil in the ears, down into the nose, in the eyes, or on sensitive areas. Don't use it at the same time as topical medications, and don't give any of the products that exist that contain xylitol, including a lot of peanut butters have xylitol as a sweetener. But doTERRA has a couple of products that have xylitol in it, like the PB Assist Plus sachets. So don't use those because they have xylitol in them. The oils we want to avoid for dogs: birch, tea tree, and wintergreen, and use caution with hot oils like oregano, cassia, cinnamon, clove, rosemary, and thyme. Same thing with cats. So same rules topically, but we're going to dilute to 0.5 to 2% for cats, or use the kids roller bottles. And you don't have to give oils internally to cats because you can use them topically and they'll lick it off that way. That's totally fine. We're going to do self-selection just like we showed you with Lyra. And, same thing as far as not using xylitol and whatnot. The oils we're going to use topically or internally with cats are citrus oils, birch, tea tree, peppermint, and wintergreen. And the reason I have citrus oils on here is not because they're toxic. It's most cats hate citrus oils, and so you don't want to be using stuff that cats hate. And also they're photosensitizing, especially if your animal goes outside. You don't want to use those photosensitizing oils topically. Peppermint is yes or no. It's just a really strong smelling oil, and I tend to use spearmint instead or supermint. Peppermint by itself can be a little overwhelming to the senses and can be a little irritating to cats with asthma. Use caution with hot oils again, like cassia, cinnamon, clove, etc. With birds and poultry, they love essential oils. You can do water misting, 10 to 20 drops in 4 ounces of water. Just shake it before use. Aromatically, use 2 to 3 drops in a water-based diffuser, and then just monitor the bird for the first 5 or 10 minutes of diffusing, especially if you have a really small bird like a canary or a parakeet. Inside. Internally, you can mix with food. 1 drop per 5 pounds of feed for chickens and turkeys and ducks and things like that work really well. You can use oils in water. Use a dispersant if you have one. Soluble works really, really well for those guys. And then don't place the diffuser directly next to the bird enclosure if they have a really small habitat. And then use a little more caution with hot oils. A lot of oils we use commonly with birds, the citrus oils, calming oils, frankincense, and helichrysum. Any of your small mammals like rabbits, guinea pigs, hamsters, etc. These guys are hindgut fermenters and very susceptible to digestive problems that can be deadly if the delicate bacterial balance in their gut is upset. So use caution with certain oils and just put them on a probiotic if you want to use any of the hot oils. There are lots of great probiotics for rabbits and things like that that you can use. Aromatically, we're just going to use the same rules as with cats and dogs, 3 to 4 drops total in a water-based diffuser in a well-ventilated area. You can use oils internally with bunnies or use it topically just based on their size. So we're going to dilute it more the smaller they are. And then use caution with really hot oils or antibacterial oils. Oils commonly used with small mammals are citrus oils, calming oils, and frankincense and copaiba. Reptiles actually do amazing with essential oils. Tortoises, geckos, snakes, beardies can greatly benefit from using essential oils. Use caution with the smaller reptiles, but water misting, water soaks, ointments, oral flushes. I use oral flushes and snakes with mouth rot and things like that. These are amazing, wonderful tools for these guys. Proper dilution is necessary, and diffusion works really, really well for these guys too. Use caution with pine oils specifically, and other oils that we really like to use, citrus oils, copaiba, frankincense, helichrysum, lavender, oregano, Roman chamomile, rosemary, tea tree. We use a lot of tea tree with those guys. Amphibians are especially sensitive to essential oils like frogs, salamanders, and newts. Because they do some respiration through their skin. And so water diffusion is preferred with only 1 to 4 drops of essential oil in a well-ventilated area. Water misting with a toothpick drop of essential oil per liter of water is acceptable as well. And use caution with your hot oils, but you can use some citrus oils, copaiba, frankincense, helichrysum, lavender, tea tree. We do use tea tree with these guys, and Roman chamomile. Fish, we want to really be careful with clove because clove sedates fish, believe it or not. And so you want to use a little more caution around your aquariums. They typically, if you use essential oils with them, they just will eat them because the oils will float on the surface of the tank. And so they'll just get them internally. But you can definitely diffuse around that, and some of that will get onto the water. And so they'll ingest some of those, which is totally fine. Copaiba, frankincense, citrus oils, tea tree, peppermint, lavender, Roman chamomile. With large animals like horses, cattle, goats, sheep, etc., llamas, alpacas, you name it, just use caution and proper dilution for hot oils. Topically, gentle oils can be used totally used undiluted. Even hot oils can be used undiluted depending on what's going on. You can mix it with feed. You can use topical, aromatic is a little trickier unless you have a stall that a horse is or an animal is in. But even then, I do have some people diffusing in their barns. It's amazing. Do self-selection with these guys. They usually love everything. And then same thing, you don't want to use oils up the nose, down into the ear canal, in the eyes. And then don't apply oils to the saddle area prior to riding. And then don't apply oils directly after bathing because water will drive the oils in and make just be a little irritating to the skin. So let them dry before you apply them. Um, Caution should be used around animals that are pregnant, nursing young, or on certain medications. Just observe their behavior. And then if you do have an adverse reaction, sometimes they'll get little welts. It was the skin irritation that they get if they're really sensitive to an oil. Just dilute it with you just put more carrier oil on it, and it usually resolves within a couple hours. Some oils are phototoxic or photosensitizing, so you don't want to use these on pink skinned animals or animals that go outside a lot. So bergamot, cumin, grapefruit, kumquat, lemon, lime, tangerine, wild orange. If you want the benefits of a citrus oil without phototoxicity, use green mandarin. It does not have furan or coumarins in it, and so it can be safely be used topically without worrying about that. If you have an animal that has seizures, do avoid these oils, even diffused. And that, yes, that does include blends that contain these oils. These oils do not cause seizures. Do not hear that because that's not what I'm saying. If you have an animal that is prone to seizures or gets seizures, don't use these oils because it can sometimes lower the seizure threshold and they can have breakthrough seizures, and we don't want that to happen. So rosemary, camphor, eucalyptus, fennel, hyssop, pennyroyal, sage, and that does include Spanish sage and wintergreen and wormwood. Here's just a list of just general pregnancy safety oils to avoid. I'm going to skip through this pretty quick because most people don't have pregnant animals. If you have an animal that does have asthma, it's usually a cat. It's very tricky and often individualized. Rosemary, marjoram, camphor, oregano, and yarrow have been specifically said in the literature. It says to avoid those. I've diffused these around my asthmatic cat with zero problem. So again, it's very individualized. Eucalyptus and peppermint sometimes help the animals, sometimes it triggers an asthma attack. So it really just depends on the animal and how safe you want to be or how cautious you want to be. And that's it, you guys. So if you want to learn more, I do have a membership, essentialoilvet.com/members, where we do monthly topics, exclusive webinars, weekly Q&As with me. I answer everyone's questions, safety information, research, protocols galore. There's over 750 protocols in there, diffuser blends, recipes, whole animal guidance. And I do have an animal aromatherapy certification course. So if you want to get certified in animal aromatherapy and teach classes like this, then you can do that over at essentialoilvet.com/animal aromatherapy. The next live class starts this month, at the end of this month. I'm so excited. It's a 6-week long course. You do get certified, and it is a true certification. So you have to take quizzes and do case studies. If you are a veterinarian or technician, we do have 24 hours of race-approved continuing education for vets and techs in the US and Canada for that. So you do actually get licensing approval for that as well. So, all right. So if you happen to be here and I went really fast and you're really overwhelmed, I'm really sorry. But you need to get started with essential oils today for you and your family and your animals. Just reach out to the person that invited you today to order oils, or if somebody sent you this video and we're like, you need to hear this lady, she's crazy. Then please reach out to them and say, hey, I'm ready to order. Let's do this. If you want to follow me on Facebook, I am Essential Oil Vet, Janet Roark DVM on Facebook, and at Essential Oil Vet on Instagram. Thanks, guys. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Roark.
Questions for me?
I'm going to finish up, and then if you want to look through the Q&A right now, if not,
Okay,
I
cool.
understand. I'll read them to you. So I will get going. I've had folks reach out and say, is there a recording? No, the PowerPoint is not available to anyone, but the recording will be. And I'm not sure because of 4th of July, but generally it's available till Friday. If not, check on Saturday. But please go to wondering where Discovery Essentials were, and I put that in there. Kayla's putting it all into the chat right now. Please scan the QR code or bit.ly/Discovery Essentials. It will be placed out there. I love that they basically put it right in the email, and it's sent right to my email, and I can forward it to folks. bit.ly/email list. DE stands for Discover Essentials. Today is the last day for the last 3 classes that are out there, but you can definitely find some good recordings out there as well. Many of you are probably going to graduate tonight, so check your progress toward graduation first. bit.ly/grad progress 2025, or scan the QR code right now, and then complete tonight's class within an hour. bit.ly/continuing ed 2025, because they are kind enough to give us a number of goodies, and I'll share that next. But there's an abundance of amazing classes out there on the permanent library. So feel free to go out there, share this with others, and continue to learn on your own. You can pick 2 of these oils as part of your graduation, or why would you not pick a $97 doTERRA teachable course? I would highly recommend that as well. So feel free to select these when you check your graduation. Folks can purchase these oils for their pets, retail, wholesale, and below. And yes, this is how you get it below wholesale. So many of the oils that Dr. Janik talked about tonight are in these kits. Do a little inventory. This is great. Some people like to have their own little kit for their pets, and this is one really good way of doing so. Or you can purchase the 5-pack of the rollers and then dilute as well with some fractionated coconut oil. Here are some more kits to purchase below wholesale. Again, amazing. Reach out to the person that invited you tonight to get started, like Dr. Roark said, and get started. That's the big thing. Please text me, call me, or email me. My contact information is below. We'd love to hear from you if you have any questions. We want to thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy doTERRA's wonderful oils, a true gift of the earth. And you will see in the chat that there is an amazing giveaway tonight that we recommend that you have on you when you're taking your pets for a walk or wherever it might be. And so I'm going to stop sharing and have Dr. Roark pick a number from 4
Recording
to 104.
stopped.
4 to what?
4 to 104.
77.
Okay, Kayla will do that. And I am going to go all the way up. I don't know if you had a chance to look at any of the questions.
I did. So one of the questions was, do you have to dilute balance? And the answer is no, it's already diluted. You can use it with dogs and cats, undiluted, just 1 drop, just like that. So it's typically how I use it. Britta says, what do you do if your cat doesn't show he likes any oils with self-selection? I would just diffuse. So what I would do is try the kids rollers or the touch rollers. Sometimes they don't like it because it's just too overpowering for them, even with the cap on. Cats are just a little sensitive. So try diffusing, and a neutral response is a yes response for those stoic kind of animals or animals that don't want to participate. So a neutral response is a yes response for those. I'm like, okay, well, you're getting it because you need it. And then another one that you can try. Okay, cats really like spikenard. So if you haven't tried spikenard yet, try that one. It's a little bit like catnip to them, and then they fall asleep. That's a really good calming oil for cats. Oh, shirt says, my dog stomped her feet for me to diffuse Serenity, and I love it. Darylyn is asking about a dog that gets a little excited and sometimes gets a little nervous pee. So that happens with overexcitement sometimes. So the first thing I would do is make sure your dog gets to go outside before people come over. If they get overexcited with people, or have a potty pad by the door, or something like that. A year, sometimes their bladder is still developing at that point. So I would say, don't punish it. Just be like, okay, we're just gonna go outside again, and then reward when she goes potty outside. The other thing is, yes, you can absolutely use any of the calming oils we talked about: copaiba, balance, lavender, Serenity, adaptive, peace, whatever, to help calm her down before the guests arrive, and that can be really, really helpful. Let's see. Britta was asking what supplements I give that I use regularly for my dogs. And all of my dogs I have every size from, 20 pounds to 65 pounds. I have 4 dogs and they all get PB Restore, which is a probiotic, and they all get Terrazyme every meal. So they get PB Restore once a day, Terrazyme. They get the E Omegas, which is an omega supplement, and the amount you give for that is 1 capsule per 20 to 40 pounds. So there's a little bit of a range there you can give depending on what's going on. And then they get Copaiba, frankincense, and turmeric every single day in their food, twice a day. And Copaiba they often get like 2 or 3 drops instead of just one because we have a lot of stress around. But they also do really, really well with it. So those are what my dogs get and what I recommend for a lot of animals as well. Melissa, how many drops of Copaiba for a 15-pound dog? 1 drop twice a day is usually what I start with. A little more is okay if a little comes out. It's actually a super, super safe oil to give internally. I like giving that one internally more than topically even. Copaiba is my favorite for internal use. Joy uses lemon for her fish tank. That is great news. It doesn't seem to hurt the corals or anything like that, Jean. Let's see. Marilyn, do you recommend Terrazyme for cats, and if so, how much? I do. It's really good for hairballs and hairball prevention. And so I usually recommend 1/4 to 1/3 of a capsule so you can actually open that up and sprinkle it on and then close it again. So one of my dogs my cat gets like 1/3 of a capsule, and then one of my dogs gets 2/3 of a capsule with each meal instead of my little guy does. But that's just when I have a cat. I actually don't have a cat right now, but when I have a cat, they get 1/3 of a capsule. And then for those of you asking about itching and allergies and things like that, allergies are extremely complicated. We have an excellent protocol for that in the membership and a 1 hour long webinar just on allergies because it's extremely complex. And we also have one on parasites. So one, if your animal's itchy, make sure it doesn't have fleas. And that is the #1 cause of itching in animals is actually fleas, not allergies. But flea allergies are very, very itchy. And so make sure they don't have fleas. 2, if they're itchy and that's the reason, get rid of the fleas. 2, if they actually have allergies, there's a lot of different causes of allergies, and it's an immune response, and so you have to address gut health first, and all those supplements that I just listed, and things like that. Lavender and Roman chamomile are natural antihistamine, just as like a go-to. And I usually do copaiba and frankincense for those guys too. But definitely, if you're dealing with allergies or itchy dogs, join the membership. It's worth it for that. PB Restore, Rebecca, totally safe for dogs. I don't give it to cats because you have to give it as a pill, and it's a pretty big pill to give a cat, and pilling cats is not fun. So I don't give it to cats. I do usually plain Greek yogurt or plain kefir for cats, or goat's milk. Raw goat's milk is actually really good for kitties. And then Joan says it's vetiver okay for dogs. It is probably my go-to for severe anxiety. I'll even use it undiluted unfortunately if I need to. So yes, it's totally safe, and it's a pretty good heavy duty one. All right. I think that's all the questions I saw. Yes, Bobby, spikenard for cats. Very good calming oil. Rachel, any oils to help recovering of vertigo? Balance. I mean, it seems like obvious, but yeah, balance helps with vertigo. And Serenity usually helps too. But those guys I usually will also do either digestion or swimmer because with vertigo it kind of makes them a little motion sickness, and they'll give them makes them a little dizzy, and they don't want to eat necessarily. But yeah. And I know we went over on time. I'm sorry guys, but I wanted to make sure I got some time to answer your questions too. So I think
Absolutely. They
that's
stayed
all the
on.
questions.
Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. Dr. Janik, you have no idea. Appreciate all your knowledge. Thank you. Thank you.
I love you, girl.
So please unmute everyone. Share your full appreciation to this beautiful woman, both inside and out, for sharing her knowledge.
Thank you so much.
And show me your animals if you have them on camera. I want to see all your animals.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janet. You're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Janet.
Thank you.